I'm sure many of you have become intimately familiar with the name Coleco Chameleon over the last few days and weeks, as it has been embroiled in quite the controversies. Yes, controversies, plural. And now there is another one to add to its collection, as a person connected to the Coleco Chameleon has quit, basically has cited the controversy surrounding the console and questions of its legitimacy which have been raised this week. Now, before I get too far into the goings on with this particular person, I just want to give you a bit of a background just in case you have missed what was going on. Now, the person that left was a man by the name of David Giltinan, and he was the managing editor of Retro magazine, which is owned by Mike Kennedy, the co-founder of Retro VGS, which is behind the Coleco Chameleon, which is a project to create a cartridge-based retro gaming console. Now basically, the console showed itself at a toy fair in New York in the middle of February, and basically Retro VGS quickly found themselves faced with allegations that the unit they showed was just a SNES Junior quote-unquote duct-taped inside an old Atari Jaguar chassis. And there's a couple of images floating around where you can clearly see the test unit being controlled by two wired SNES controllers. However, it didn't stop there, as Retro VGS posted images on their Facebook page which basically showed the hardware inside a clear plastic casing, clearly an attempt to assuage concerns, and basically posted the image alongside with an explanation that it would, quote, delay the pre-sale, i.e. Kickstarter campaign, in order to finalise our prototype and work with the developers on having the best possible content. However, this only seemed to add fuel to the fire rather than quiet it down, as readers of the Atari Age forums basically spotted, and very keenly as well, that the chipboard shown inside the plastic casing was actually just an old DVR capture card. And then on Wednesday, the owner of the ColecoVision brand posted on their Facebook page that basically they were aware of the concerns about the console, and Coleco Holdings said they basically were going to be giving 7 days to a team of independent engineers to inspect prototypes, and Retro VGS would of course have to allow them to do that within that period. And of course, if the concerns end up being legitimate, then there's going to be no choice to abandon the project. So, moving on from that to what's actually happening, and David Giltinan has actually left and basically said in a note on his LinkedIn page, quote, everything going on with the Coleco Chameleon is a major reason why I have to separate myself from everything associated with it. Now, he has since given an update since his initial leaving, but I just want to discuss the comments he made when he initially left. I'll go through his new ones in just a moment. Now, when he left, he didn't give any specific reason and gave a rather cryptic apology for, quote, not fully following through with my desire for the truth when speaking about the console. Instead, I allowed myself to become a vessel for misinformation, and for that I am again sorry. However, at the time, he denied that Retro VGS were, quote, trying to scam consumers or take advantage of the retro gaming community, and said at the time that he would not go into specifics as to what went wrong. So, the update to this particular situation is that Polygon reached out to Giltinan as well as Mike Kennedy, basically asking them, why Giltinan actually has quit. And Giltinan has replied saying, quote, Coleco's investigation wasn't directly involved with me leaving, but it is something that at this time I do not see yielding positive results. And then went on to say, this is Giltinan still of course, that Kennedy, quote, felt rushed to show something in time for the toy fair. Ultimately it was a poor decision that ended up sparking more controversy than I think he realised at the time. Now, Giltinan did go on to say that he was not a quote-unquote, not a hardware guy, and couldn't speak very specifically about the prototype's makeup or what was actually shown at the toy fair. He however, did criticise what he called Kennedy's, quote, inability or unwillingness to just plainly show what was underneath the console shell was rather baffling to me, at least one other person on the team. Once photographic evidence was pulled up on what was likely running the prototype, that's when rumours and hate speech we dealt with before turned into legitimate concern and defamatory accusations. I could no longer bring myself to defend Mike or the project after that. He is, however, still sticking to his claims that Coleco Chameleon project did not set out to deceive anyone, and basically said, quote, "This should be apparent from our decision to not do the Kickstarter since we clearly didn't have a very good proof of concept model to show. I wish Mike and the rest of the team best of luck going forward." So, there you have it. A rather messy situation has become even messier and unfortunately none the clearer. I don't really, unless we get a public statement from ColecoVision's private investigators, I don't think we're really going to actually know what went down, what was actually inside the system, or even their intentions. As we always say, never contribute to malice what you can contribute to incompetence. So I'm not going to make any speculations as to what they were trying to do here, but it's definitely not a positive sign at all for the future of the project, even if the investigators turn out something positive, which is looking unlikely given Giltinan's comments. I think the damage has been done to the name Coleco Chameleon, but I could be wrong. This is all speculation. Anyway, that is me done for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.